Hello everyone, welcome to our July Training Tuesday event for OU Campus. Today's topic is webhooks. Webhooks are a new feature of OU Campus as of version 10.13 that send data from OU Campus to a URL you configure on page publish or other events, useful for actions such as notifications and load balancing. Today we'll cover the background of webhooks, how to set them up in OU Campus, and some examples of what you can do with them. This presentation is geared towards a developer level of experience with OU Campus and with coding such as PHP. During the presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode as the session is being recorded. If you have a question during the presentation, please use the Q&A function found in the Zoom window. We will attempt to address questions during the presentation. After the formal presentation has ended, we will review and answer all remaining questions. Your presenter today is Kian Erickson, software developer. Kian, I will let you take the screen share.
Hello everybody, my name is Kian Erickson, and today I'm going to be presenting to you webhooks, a new piece of functionality in OU Campus. Today we will go over what is a webhook, what are webhooks in regards to OU Campus, what does the information sent over look like, what decides whether webhooks messages will be sent at all, how can the information provided be used, and how do I enable webhooks in OU Campus. What is a webhook? Wiki defines webhooks as user-defined HTTP callbacks. If I were to put this in simpler terms, it would be, don't call us, we'll call you. I say this because, like other web applications, OU Campus has a suite of APIs in the form of web URLs that can be called to do anything in the product. But webhooks are actions happening in the other direction. When OU Campus is done with a certain task, it essentially makes a call back to the URL that you provide us in order to send details about something that has happened. The intention here is to give users more insight into the publish process, to allow users to write scripts reacting to publish activity, and to assist in troubleshooting when there are intermittent issues publishing certain files or publishing to certain production servers. I'm going to go over some common uses on the modern web. Here are some other web applications that utilize webhooks. In order for webhooks info to be sent, the one thing in common that these services request from the user is a URL to send information to. Zendesk and Jira. Some of you may have used Zendesk to file support tickets with us. Zendesk allows webhooks from bug tracking systems such as Jira to update its tickets. So when a Jira bug entry is attached to a Zendesk ticket, in the event that the bug's entry status changes, i.e. if it was marked as fixed, a webhook will be triggered from Jira after the fact of that status change to update the Zendesk ticket with the bug's new status. Social media. Facebook is especially flexible in the variety of things that it allows to trigger a webhook. If you have a Facebook page that's connected to an Instagram account, Facebook can fire off a webhook to the URL you provided in order to notify that an Instagram user has mentioned you or replied to your comment, for example. Push notifications sent from social media apps generally follow the concept of a webhook. You are notified after the fact of an event, such as a thread or a post being updated. Chat software. Chat programs like Microsoft Teams, Slack, and Discord allow webhooks. We use Microsoft Teams and have some channels that are automatically updated after the fact of when a GitHub issue entry is updated. It's also possible for a webhook to be fired for events relating to a GitHub repository, such as when a repo is starred. Amazon Web Services. I won't go into this one too much, but AWS is capable of using webhooks to send out information when the status of a virtual server changes. It's also possible to trigger an AWS Lambda function from an external tool, such as the automation service Zapier. When does OU Campus send information through webhooks? When an account and site are configured properly for webhooks, OU Campus will send out two calls in the event of a publish or a delete. One to notify that such an event has begun, and another when that event has finished to inform you of whether the publish attempt was successful. At its core, the main functionality of OU Campus is the editing and publishing of pages and other files to a given web server. So webhooks in OU Campus are principally concerned with the act of publishing things to production, as well as recycling or deleting things from production. I'll be talking quite a bit about publish activity, but this is all true also of any recycle or delete action that affects files on production. It's true too of moving or renaming files that exist on production, or files that are republished when an asset is published, or a file corresponding to a dependency tag is moved or renamed. Next, we'll go through the kind of information that's sent through webhooks. The info sent through webhooks is actually the same info that's used by OU Campus when showing you, the user, a green success notification bar at the bottom of the screen when a publish completes, or a red error message with a list of files that failed to publish. This information includes the type of publish, directory, page, asset, multi-publish, the names of files or assets that were successfully published or deleted, and their production URLs, the names of items that failed to publish. This can happen due to various things such as problems with an XSL style sheet or with temporary network issues that interrupted communication with the production server. The origin is the name of the file, folder, or asset that was originally meant to be published, as opposed to any other files that were republished along with it. And also, any errors relating to publishing updated RSS feeds attached to the pages published. This occurs only after the fact of a file being published. Any questions from chat? No? Okay. So the information sent over looks like this. It's in JSON format. A few properties are omitted here to fit it in the slide. I'll mention those as well coming up here. Note how publish and failure are grouped by site. This is to provide clarity in the case that a file with the same name is published out under multiple sites. You'll also see a unique identifier or a UUID that can be used to line up the two webhooks messages, the beginning and the ending. The origin, which is significant because through dependency tags, it's possible for a rename or a publish on a given file to require the republish of numerous other files that use or are used by the page being published. Files listed in the origin are those chosen for publish by the user. You'll also see errors relating to RSS feeds. It's not uncommon that a page will have an RSS feed attached to it that's republished when the page is updated. If something went wrong in updating the RSS feed, an error about it will appear here. Not pictured here, the information will also include the user that initiated the publish, as well as how long the action took to complete, as well as when it began and completed. So, what decides whether webhooks messages will be sent on publish or delete? So as you can see here, for asset publish, information is sent only if site access settings, which corresponds to the root directory of your site, is configured for webhooks publish. For site publish, the site's access settings, as well as any child folder in the site, will activate webhooks. Webhooks are centered around directories. Once you provide a webhooks URL at the account level, webhooks are activated on a per directory basis. Any directory can be flagged to allow webhooks messages to be sent out. If you publish a directory, webhooks will fire for that publish if the directory or any of its descendants are flagged for inclusion, but not its ancestors, i.e. parents or grandparents. This is due to the fact that it's possible to recursively set the webhooks flag for all child directories all the way down the chain. The same is true from the site access settings menu, which again is really just the directory access settings for the root directory of the site. Every directory in the site, through the recursive setting, can be activated for webhooks at once. So this inheritance should handle for parent directories, otherwise the scope is meant to be limited to children. The rules are slightly different for pages. In order for a page publish to trigger webhooks, its immediate parent directory must be flagged for inclusion, whereas a directory will not trigger webhooks simply because its parent is flagged for inclusion. And then finally, for rename and move, this is based on the site access settings for webhooks alone. Let me check chat. Okay. So now I'm going to go over some potential uses in OU Campus. One thing you could do with it is trigger server file synchronization. In the case that you have a second server, which is synchronized to your main production server, say behind a load balancer, it would be possible to trigger that synchronization. This could be done from any webhooks hit or by scripting to look for a handful of files of concern. You could monitor individual files more generally. Another thing you could do with this is to make an API call to republish a faculty directory listing page when a faculty profile page is updated or created. You could script to send an email or update a chat channel when an important file is published, or similarly, you could set up a script to notify if a file or folder that wasn't meant to be published was published. This should make it easier also to log publish failures. By monitoring for warnings and errors, you could create a running log of all publish errors to a given publish target, or even to all of them. OU Campus currently keeps a log of successful publishes, but it doesn't keep long-running information about failed publishes aside from inbox messages or emails. A script could be written to insert publish failure data into a simple database table. Essentially, any long-running information relating to publishes that currently isn't available through OU Campus can be accumulated and sorted through webhooks. Saving such information could even be done through OU Campus's metadata API. This would make it easier to determine dependent files for a given directory. For example, if you use source tags, currently it's not possible to see what source tags are in use for a given directory. Site or directory publish with webhooks can outline what outside pages are using S tags pointing to pages inside that directory. The same is true for file or directory tag modifications resulting from a directory rename. And finally, it would be possible to receive publish information without being logged in. Currently, information about publish can be obtained through your dashboard inbox or through a notification received when you are logged in. Currently, only information about scheduled publish is available through an email. With webhooks, you can receive all publish note information without being logged in at all. We're all ears as to other recommendations for what could trigger webhooks. So, now we're going to go over a brief demo as to how to enable it in OU Campus. All you have to do is, at the account level, provide a webhooks URL that is listening for information that we send over. And then for a site or a directory, you simply click the radio button to indicate that this directory is included. So we will take a look, check for any questions. Great, no questions, okay. So I have in my clipboard a URL that is set up to listen for webhooks information. So here in my account settings page, I'm going to place this listening URL right here. There's a test button. This will tell you if there are any certificate errors with the link or if it's simply 404. HTTPS is required for these links. And when you hit it, it'll just print out pretty much whatever it found at that web page. So all that matters really is that something showed up here and that you didn't get an error message. So you can save that. And then we're going to go to our site. So like I said, webhooks is activated on a per directory basis. So I'm going to go pick a directory in here. Going to go to edit. I mentioned recursive settings. So if there were child directories inside this directory and you published a page that was inside that child directory but not directly inside this directory, even though I set it simply for this directory, it wouldn't send out webhooks because it's in a child. So if you wanted all grandchildren pages to be able to trigger as well, you would choose this for recursive settings. There we go. So I'm going to go in here and simply publish a page. And then I have another page set up that simply prints out all the information received from my webhooks endpoint. This is going chronological descending, so the newer ones are at the very top. You'll see here that 2 messages appeared corresponding to my publish. There's a UUID here that lines up E2. This is how you know if there are a whole bunch of these that they are the same one. This is a little demo page set up by our QA engineer. Put simply, this information up here is a pretty print of the actual information in JSON, which is right here. And you can see the page in question. This is the call telling you that it began. And then for the one that completed, you can see the successful publish information is right here. And this is the PCF product. So in the case that there is a page that would not publish out, say, for example, about 2. Set this one to do it. So one of these pages, due to some issues in production, file access issues, will not publish out when I choose to publish all of these. So I'm going to go ahead and hit publish, and we're going to receive a complaint. So this guy had a problem. So I'm going to go back over to my log. We'll see the new one at the top here. A little bit more information this time. I'm going to go ahead and move this into a text editor so I can pretty print it for you. There we go. So you'll see here, most of these pages were successes. Success, success, success. And the one that failed is right down here with the little information about what exactly went wrong with it. So that is webhooks. This particular tool, these PHP pages will be available to you for use as well. And let's see if we have any more questions for here. One second.
We do have one question asking if you can share the code from the listener page that formats the JSON data, which I believe is included in the files that you have ready for.
Yes, that is available there. So those will be available for you to use.
Yeah. So so when the link to the recording of this training is posted, there will also be a link to downloadable files that include that sample code.
Great. Any other questions?
And I think, yeah, if there's any other questions, please feel free to ask. As you can see, the actual OU campus side of this feature is very simple. You're just entering a field into the setup menu. It's really, a lot of it is really up to what you want to do with the data that we're sending to you. So feel free to ask questions.
Yeah.
I know this is a little shorter of a session, but that does open it up for more time for discussion.
All right.
Yeah, no, okay. Well, if maybe you're still thinking of questions, or if you try this out and then, oh, I see a raised hand from somebody. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we've got a couple questions. One is saying, can you have a script that interacts with OU Campus?
Yes, it would be possible to. All you would need is a script set up to make web calls to the OU Campus API. You would make an initial one to authenticate, that is to log in. And then from there, like I mentioned before, you could potentially send information to the metadata API, and then you would be able to store that info on the OU Campus side.
Yeah. And then we have another question. Any plans to offer more than one webhook URL per site?
We weren't planning on it, but we would be perfectly open to that recommendation to dial out to multiple URLs.
Okay. And then another question from Ivanka, and I see your raised hand as well, so hopefully that just relates to your question. If we do site publishes with the API, can we still access the publish stats with the webhooks?
Yes, so in order to do that, all you would have to do, and I'll go ahead and go back to OU Campus here, all you'd have to do is go to your sites list, and then, menu bar is in my way here. Okay, I think Thank you. So all you do is go in here to your site settings, and like I mentioned, the the site access settings for a site pretty much corresponds to the root directory of the site itself. It's the view for that. So I did have it set up for the site here, but yeah, pretty much site access settings has the exact same menu as directory access settings does.
Another question says, is it possible, oh, this is a follow-up to the earlier question of having a script that interacts with OU Campus. And so then the follow-up question is it possible to log in if you are using CAS at the account level?
I imagine it is, but I'd have to get back to you on that one.
Okay, so yeah, we'll because we have your email from registration, so we'll follow up with you on that topic. Another question. Oh, or I guess not so much a question, but someone says, great idea to write back to the OU Campus metadata API. Actually, is that a suggestion or a compliment? All right, and then another question saying, can the hooks be used for public-facing responses, or are they just a publishing feature?
I'm not completely clear on what is meant by public-facing responses in this case, but it is largely just a feature for publish and file recycle / delete.
We'll see. He may be typing a follow-up to that question. Let's see. Any other questions? Okay. Well, if you're still answering questions, like, feel free to go ahead. But while that's happening, okay, he says, yeah, that's fine. Okay. Well, if there's any last questions that people are thinking of, while we're doing that, we'll talk about next month's training Tuesday. So it will be held August 27th, last Tuesday of August, and we're going to be talking about strategies for training your editors. You know, such as if you have a large body of editors at your school and you need to train all of them on OU Campus, we're going to go over some of the most effective ways and some of the strategies that our training team uses in order to impart that knowledge successfully. As always, keep an eye on the OCN or the support site for the registration link. And for this session, the recording will be emailed to you afterwards. We will also have the link to the recording and to the additional resources posted on our support site. Okay, and with that, I think we are going to wrap things up. Again, as a little bit of a shorter session this month, but you know, webhooks are pretty simple from an OU Campus standpoint. It's just there's really a lot of flexibility in terms of what you choose to do with it. If you have any questions, any follow-up, something you didn't think of at the moment, you can feel free to email training@omniupdate.com and we will pass that on for you. And as one final thing, when you exit, you are going to see a feedback survey. So please don't forget to fill that out. We love hearing from you, and it helps us tailor our Training Tuesday sessions to what you guys want to see and learn more of. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and have a great rest of your day.